You're such an asshole.
We got a request from Juan. There's two no good dirty Mexicans. The first one is Atham. You guys all know. And then the second no good dirty Mexican is Juan. He's the regular on the show. He comes in every once in a while. Sup, asshole? I know how this works. Let me know how much for a video response. I apologize if this is written fucked up since I'm hammered at the time. I'm getting a lot of hammered requests. I was born in Mexico but grew up in the States. Currently I'm legally here, but I've been thinking lately about the economic threats facing this great country. From my understanding, the U.S. has a collapse because we have the world's reserve currency. Correct. Among other things, we're the largest economy. We have a very relatively low corruption. And the biggest military we got. With that being said, I can't fathom why people would flee their country like my parents did and end up voting in the same crap that made them flee in the first place. I'm going to be directly honest with you, because your parents are stupid and they're lazy, or a combination of both. That's what happens. In the book you can read it. If I publish it, again, I'm coming more along the lines. I may not publish. I don't have to become a millennial, I know, but I'll maybe make an announcement later. After researching and sitting down and looking at people's behavior critically and writing and all that, it is shocking to me how it scares me. That's the word. It scares me how powerful laziness is as a force. It makes people do the dumbest. I mean, you want to see a perfect example. This has nothing to do with your record, but to show you. You don't understand how your parents came here and voted in the same shit they're trying to escape. Okay? If look at what people will do because they're so lazy, to the point they'll be homeless. They'll go live under a fucking bridge before they get a job. That's how scarily powerful lazy is. Now, normally, starvation, hunger, disease, the cold, that's what prompted, not that I needed any prompting to get off my ass, but to make sure I'd never, have to do a cold patrol ever again, or live in a basement in 35-degree weather. I made damn sure I worked hard, spent less than I made, etc., etc., etc. But that's not the case for a lot of people. A lot of people, even though you don't hit your hand with the hammer, but if hitting your hand with the hammer saves you a year of work, they'll bash the fuck out of that hand. And they'll make they'll get pregnant when they can't afford. They'll come up with the most amazing. You look at the left, it's their primary job is coming up with the most amazing rationalizations and lies as to why they're entitled to your shit, to basically excuse thievery and parasitism. And so though you could have, your dad could have been smart, your mom could have been smart, but not in this one instance. This is where the contradiction or the cognitive dissonance comes in. We got to get out of Mexico, but fuck the United States, we're here, viva la Mexico. And that's what it is, because, and it's not just Mexicans, it's the other people that come here or whatever, and Americans that, I hate this country, I'm going to leave. Well, then leave, go to the Scandinavian countries, they give you all the fucking money in the world. Oh, no, because they're so lazy, they can't even apply for a visa there. What do you want, dog? Go out. You got a dog. Not my dog. So that's why basically they did a calculation in the hindbrain, maybe not the frontal cortex, but the hindbrain. This is going to take less calories of energy this way. You can get higher pay. Now, admittedly, that's true. There's less crime. That's another thing you have to worry about, getting shot by the cartel. So I can understand that. But it's just like, hey, they're going to give us free shit? Let's go there. By the way, we hate this country. And that's what it is. It's instinct. It's the most powerful instinct the humans have in the world. It's laziness. And so you're thinking like, wait, you're thinking something that very few people think about. That's sustainability. Spit out a ton of kids. Vote in socialism. Who's going to pay for this shit? You kids. Your kids are. So that's what's happening there. I value freedom of speech, the right to bear arms, and other freedoms this great nation provides for the individual. I recently watched Stefan Molyneux's documentary on Hong Kong, and how their freedom is under attack by the Chinese Communist government. Those people are legitimately protesting, and most of them are willing to give their life in the pursuit of freedom, and that's something I'm willing to do if an authoritarian government is infringing on my rights or my fellow man. My question goes as follows. Should I even pursue U.S. citizenship if this country is going to collapse? I'm a conservative libertarian, and these leftist assholes are making it near impossible for this nation to survive. Yeah, plus you live in San Francisco, man. I mean, my strategy is a constant rear guard retreat where I'm going to move out of this, I'm going to go to a more conservative town or a more freedom-loving town. You live in the worst. You're at ground zero. I can't think of anything worse than San Francisco, California. You guys are so communist, so pathetic. Not you. So pathetic. You let adults shit in the streets. You give people heroin so they don't, I don't know, whatever it is people do without it. Kill people? I don't know. But probably go crazy. So I would not be moving out of the United States just yet. It depends. See, you got kids. You got to worry about them. All right? That's another thing. I have a very easy job compared to you. I could pull the plug and get the F out of Dodge. So I could go join Matt Tran in the Philippines. Yeah, hey, man, what's up? Oh, hey, I know you doing. Oh, good. This is the Philippines, eh? Oh, yeah. Oh, cool. Too bad Juan can't. Oh, yeah, they sent him to the gulag. He did some post that they found on the internet through Asshole Consulting. The asshole, he escaped President Cortez, but Juan didn't. Oh, no, he's doing 10 to 20 for hard labor for having independent thought. So for you in your particular situation, you're going to have to be here with your kids. That's the number one thing you got to consider. But on a more philosophical, principled, academic level, I don't think the United States is going to be in that bad a shape. You can always move to states and cities where it's not a leftist shithole. I've talked about controlling your micro-environment because that's what you deal with every day. You know, the federal government can issue all the things it wants, but unless you're dealing with those people or those policies, and you're a smaller town, you hang out with, conservative or libertarian-minded people, you're just going to have a high... That's like 85% of the quality of your life is what is your small, immediate environment around you like. You live in San Fran. Yeah, that's got to suck. I'm going to be living in South Dakota. That's not going to suck so much. That's not for everybody, but they don't have restaurants. Yeah, they don't have shit on the streets either. A lot of times they don't even have streets. It's a lot of dirt roads still out there. But anyway, I would pursue U.S. citizenship because it's not going to preclude you from getting citizenship elsewhere. You could always go back to Mexico. There's a piece of me. You look at Mexico's fundamentals. They're not that bad. They got crime and corruption, but they're growing. They're growing faster than the U.S. They have less debt. I mean, some places it's a paradise. There's you don't know. All of a sudden, it could be Mexico's the new Switzerland, and everyone's going to Mexico. The cartels say, "Look, Labrador, whatever the fucking president's named, we're in charge now." And you know what? Having the mafia, the drug cartels, in charge of the government would be more moral and ethical and effective, I think, than the fucking socialists. So you don't know. In other words, you're presenting this as an if-or. I don't think it's that. I think it's an and. I think it's an and but or an and so. So I would not stop your pursuit of U.S. citizenship because it doesn't disadvantage you if you have it. So that's something I could consider. I'm a conservative libertarian, and these leftist assholes are making it near impossible for the nation to survive. What countries would you consider in a plan B if shit hits the fan? I did some research and came across the Index of Economic Freedom, and the top countries that fall in the category are Hong Kong, Singapore, New Zealand, Switzerland, Australia, and Ireland. Out of this list, which country would you recommend that rewards the individual of their contribution to society? Hong Kong or Singapore would be the number ones. New Zealand is socialist. This is where having all my expertise and background in economics. So New Zealand is not that free, not in my opinion. Switzerland, not that free. Australia, freer than those other two, I'd say. Ireland, free, but because they're going to be changing down the road as well. And this list can constantly change. Ireland, for example, was a Marxist leftist shithole 25 years ago, and then became a Celtic tiger. They called it the Celtic tiger because they lowered taxes and all that other stuff. But this is an okay list. Out of this list, which country would you recommend that rewards the individual for their contributions to society? the top one is Singapore, I'd say. If you have any other countries you recommend, which would it be? I do understand through legal issues you can't technically recommend. But which country would you go to if you're in my shoes? Well, that's it. Thank you, Aaron. Here's the problem. It's not this simple of a linear solution where it's just about taxes and financial freedom. There's a whole bunch of other stuff. I've been to Switzerland. Switzerland is relatively low taxed. It is the most boring country with the most boring people on the face of the planet. Nice people, don't get me wrong. The entire country was like a library. And given that you've lived in the United States and Mexico, we're a little bit more lively. You're going to go there and it's going to wait. Like if you grew up there when you were 2 years old, it'd be different. But you're in your 30s, if I recall correctly. And it's going to be hard to undo all that programming. Because, and this, I'm trying to think of, Singapore, something similar. Switzerland is not this stringent, but Singapore, they'll cane you if you chew bubble gum or if you spit. I mean, they're really strict. So there are things outside of finance and economics and taxes that will play a role. Another thing, I've talked about this in reconnaissance, man. What if you're allergic to the pollen or the trees that happen to grow in New Zealand? I don't know, say they got koala bears. I don't think koalas are in New Zealand. Or Australia. Koalas, Australia. Oh, you're horrifically allergic to koala bears and marsupials and kangaroos. This is why it's okay to have lists like this as a starting place, but you need to get boots on the ground and actually go visit these places. Which I don't know in your case how feasible that's going to be with two little rugrats in tow. So the point I'm saying is there's more to it than mere finance and economics, and that's where we go. It's very important, and financial freedom is highly correlated with overall freedom. I got you there, but you may also, Hong Kong, do you want to live in the downtown? It's expensive. There's no open pastures. You got to go into China. And then you got to go past, what was it, Shenzhen? Well, now Shenzhen's a town. What's the province out there? You got to visit these places before you go. So what I'm taking is a more, I hate to use this word, holistic approach to the countries that I would be looking at. And I'm throwing a lot of weight into cultural stability, cultural homogeny, where, I go to Japan. Japan has horrible financial fundamentals. Korea, South Korea, not North, don't go to North, has horrible demographic fundamentals. But you know what? When I go to Korea and Japan, it's going to be stable. Now, it may not be my culture, it may not be my right, but the Japanese are going to do their Japanese things, and at least it's a known quantity. The Koreans are going to do their Korean things, and they're not going to be all like this diversity, tolerant, constant change, and fuck our culture. We'll kill ourselves because we just want to show you how accepting and open we are. No, I like traditional American culture. Matter of fact, so does everyone in the world. That's why they fucking come here. But your suspicions are correct. They're just throwing out their culture here in the United States, which the stability and the economic growth and the dominance of the United States, frankly, heralded from. And so, since I'm getting older, I look more for like stability. Vox Day, even though Italy is a leftist shithole, he says he likes his. He lives in Italy because he likes his country's post-collapse. There's a guy, Andrew. What was his name? Oh, Andrew Hendrickson. And you could go nomad capitalist, sovereign man, all these other websites where these guys go and travel. Thailand's another example. Shit, I think they had a terrorist attack or something. I forget what it was, but Thailand's cheap. That's nice, and the beaches are lovely. Matt Tran swears by the Philippines, but you and I could go to the Philippines and all of a sudden like, oh my God, I can't stand food with bananas. I don't know what culturally would be in it. We may not like the Philippines. With you I presume having the benefit of speaking Spanish, that opens up a whole world to you. You could try Spain, South America, Central America. There are problems inherent with all that. Chile is I did that middle-aged white woman thing. Chile, I dance the salsa. You dance salsa. He is Chilean. He's from Chile. Chilean. It's like, just, bitch, fucking knock it off with that fucking shit. And just say you dance salsa with a guy from Chile. Alright? Just fucking do that. So I think that's something I do, is kind of explore that. By the way, if you didn't know, don't go to Venezuela. But you could try Hong Kong and Singapore. Our buddy Atham, our patriot in arms, he went to Taiwan. Here's this Mexican dude in Taiwan, and he liked it. And I'm like, well, he's like, oh yeah, it was great, but it wasn't as, by the time you're 30, you kind of have some hardcore things in you that you're just not going to get rid of. And when you travel to different places, like me, I need roads, man. That's why I probably won't leave the United States. The fucking roads. You go to any European country, it's all fucked up. You can't speed. You get a ticket in the mail because their cops are pussies. They got cameras all over the place. Oh, well, fuck you. Send Interpol after me. I had a buddy, very libertarian, hates Ireland, hates it. He lived there. You know why? He says it's just a bunch of drunks. Just a bunch of, he said, I think it's like what you had in Wyoming. So you got to go and explore these places. So what I would do is kind of what my plan is, and I got to get off my ass on this and do it, is, yeah, get your residency in the United citizenship in the United States. It's not going to hurt you. But go find some other place. Me, I'm going to start finding places stable. I don't know if I want to learn Japanese. I was debating Korea. Philippines is tempting to me. Southeast Asia is tempting to me. The Philippines, not the Philippines, well, that too. What was the other one? Someone recommended Portugal, but I looked it up and they got a Marxist president. I'm like, I don't want to go to Spain, southern Spain. I could sit and tan. I could get my, and I happen to be 18% Spaniard, so fucking Christ, they should throw me a parade when I come in home. You're just gonna have to explore, man. So do a lot of research on the internet, okay? Come up with a list. And then you're going to have to, and it's expensive, you got to fly to these places and check them out, man. That's the only way to do it. And I'd be reading and researching Andrew Hendrickson stuff, Digital Nomad, Sovereign Man, all this stuff. And then you're at least stuck with your kids, I imagine, for another 10 to 15 years until they're 18. That's what I would recommend. So it's a lot of research. It is a lot of research. And then once you think you've narrowed it down, then you go there. And you're like, oh shit, I don't want to be here. Then you have my experience in Wyoming. I'm like, oh, I see. People are only operating with their brain stems in this state. Okay. Who dang diggly, do dang diggly do. Cousin fuckers, alright. That's the name of their football team, the Cousin Fuckers. The Casper Cousin Fuckers. Oh, it's so funny if you live there. Alright, so there you go. Best of luck to you, Juan. So we'll see you guys. And hey, if you're smart, tune in to the Clary podcast or the Old Brother podcast, where Juan regularly comes in and drops in and says hi. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.